You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Oh my goodness, Nathan Foster.
Katie, oh my gosh, it's been forever since I've
I
seen
haven't
you.
talked to you in days. It has been so long. How have you been?
Pretty good. Took it easy this weekend. Did a mixture of getting chores done and relaxing and some self-care. Yes.
Oh, well,
It's
you
funny.
look great. You look great.
Mowing the lawn and giving myself a facial. Same thing.
Hey, that sounds fun. I love it.
It was great. What about you?
Nothing exciting this weekend, but I did have a lot of fun diving back into Mother Russia, motherfucker.
Oh, Mother Russia, motherfucker! I know. Anytime we go into Russian history, it's so great.
It's just never been a chill
Gaudiness.
time.
No.
Yes, gaudiness and drama. And in case anybody didn't read before pressing play, we are redoing an episode that we did back in 2018.
I know, and when we've done this back in 2018, I feel like we had so much that we skipped over. Like, we tried to cram way too much into one episode.
We just really didn't know what we were doing yet. And
Yeah.
I feel like there's a couple of our older episodes that I would like to revisit now that we just are better researchers, better storytellers. So I actually asked up on for our Queen Mothers on Patreon, just like, hey, what would y'all like to hear redone? And one of our Patreon supporters was like, oh, I would love it if y'all redid Alexandra Feodorovna. I was like, any excuse to dive back into Imperial Russia. Mother Russia, motherfucker. Let's do it.
Yes, there's so much drama, and it's kind of like a little campy in a way. Like, there's just so much weird stuff that happens. You're like, what? Huh?
Oh my
So,
God.
I can't wait.
Let's get back into it. Alexandra Feodorovna 2026 version 2. So Nathan, who was Alexandra Feodorovna?
We are talking about Alexandra Feodorovna, the tragic last empress of Russia.
And Nathan, what are we drinking?
So we are dressing up the drink that we did last time because we got
in version 1?
Yes, version 1 was 2 ounces of cranberry juice, 1.5 ounces of grapefruit juice, and 1.5 ounces of raspberry vodka. We are going to add, because that sounds, a little sweet, we're going to water that down a little bit with some soda water, and then add a squeeze of lime and some Angostura bitters to it, like a little splash of that to give it a little bitter taste. So
what's this one called?
That's the Rasputin Part 2.
Because
that's the name of the...
the first one. The revised Rasputin.
Yes. The glow up.
The glow up. And of course, before we get started, we have a Patreon supporter today. We just got one new one to shout out today. So thank you so much to our new supporter, Amanda.
Yes. So let's dive on in. Alexandra was born Alex Victoria Helene Louise Beatrix of Hesse by Rhine on June 6, 1872 in modern-day Germany. So to put it in modern-day geography, because, you say the Rhine, and I'm like, that's a big...
Oh, Hesse by the Rhine. Oh, yeah, for sure. Cool. Yeah. No, give us a landmark people might know.
Yeah, it's like a 30-minute car ride from Frankfurt.
Okay. So we know when she was born, where she was born, and we even know the time of day she was born. So we know enough to know her big 3. Nathan. She is a Gemini sun, a Gemini moon, and a Gemini rising.
Ooh, boy, howdy. That is a lot of Gemini. That's a lot of personality. That is a lot of thought process being put into one little thing.
Well, I mean, and we are not Gemini haters here. I'm a Gemini rising and Nathan is a Gemini sun, but that is a lot of duality going on. Because a lot of times when we think Gemini, we think like social butterfly, really chatty, but with this in every with so much of it, it can be a lot of anxious energy.
Yeah, I can't imagine. No, I'm just one Gemini, and I'm like, that's enough.
Fun fact, her grandmother, Queen Victoria, who we'll talk about quite a bit in this episode, was also a triple Gemini.
So when they got into the room together, it was like 12 people in one room.
Yes.
Okay, got it. You're like, all right, I didn't know I invited a crowd.
Her dad, Louis, was the Grand Duke of Hessen by the Rhine. We've talked about a lot in this show, especially in this time period. Basically, modern day Germany was a bunch of these little principalities and duchies. And, well, this is one of them.
Yeah. Now, Hesse is not really like a major player on the European scene, so she didn't grow up like rich, but don't feel too bad for her because she was born in a palace. They're doing fine.
Alex's mother, however, came from a much bougier beginning. Her mom, Princess Alix of the United Kingdom, is the daughter of Queen Victoria and her husband Albert. Maybe you've heard of Queen Victoria before.
So, little baby Alix was the sixth of 7 children. She had 4 sisters that she was really close to and 2 brothers. And this really isn't one of those situations where the boys and the girls were raised separately or where they were sent off to boarding schools or raised in their own households. No. This family was actually super tight, and everyone would have seen each other pretty much every single day.
Yeah, which is so refreshing, especially after doing that Charlotte of Brunswick episode where it's like she was raised so isolated from her entire family. This girl was not isolated. She got brothers, she got sisters, she got mom, she got dad, all in the same house. Here's something we don't hear on the show all the time. Her parents liked each other. They were a love match.
Isn't that
nice?
Lovely? Yeah, so refreshing.
Not an arranged marriage, so no wild separations, no scandalous affairs. Isn't that nice?
Yes. Alex's early life would have been very heavily influenced by her mom and mom's family. So unlike many royal mothers, Mama Alice was a very, very hands-on mother. And despite not being a super affectionate mother, Queen Victoria loved being a grandmother and was particularly, loved Alex, attached to her.
It's because they got all those personalities with all that Gemini in the room. Yeah, absolutely.
I see the same person in you and
I
me.
mentioned this to our friend of the show, Christine, and I was like, because she's a Gemini as well. And I was like, triple Geminis, both of them, and they were very close. And Christine was like, one thing about Geminis is we love other Geminis. She was like, I love me a Gemini. So yeah. So Mama's first language was English, obviously, since she was from England. And that's what she spoke to her kids in most of the days. And they went over to visit England often. So while Alix was technically a German princess, English was probably her first language. She probably considered herself more English than anything, even though she was technically a German princess, which I think that's one of the things that I didn't really dive into the first time we covered this, like how heavily the British court affected her life.
Yeah. All in all, Alex's early life was very happy. She was a happy child that she was even nicknamed Sunny, which is kind of really sad if you think about her grown-up self.
It's almost like when I first heard that her nickname was Sunny, I was like, was that a mean joke? Because when you think Alexandra Feodorovna, when you think of her as an adult, would you ever go, oh, Sunny?
No.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of that. Her life was turmoil and sadness and depression.
Yes, and she was the queen of resting bitch face, which we'll get to a little bit later. But yeah, I just don't look at that woman and go, Sunny. But no, it's not a joke. She was just really such a happy-go-lucky, cheery kid that they called her. They called her Sunny.
No, Mama was a really compassionate person who often was charitable to the point of her own detriment. She was very involved in charities involving the sick, and it wasn't uncommon for her to get maybe a little too involved, especially if there were people she couldn't help. And she'd let it affect her mental health and get really prone to depression, which is maybe Maybe a trait that the daughter may inherit from her. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And on that note, let's get into tragedy numero uno in this story, of which there will be many.
Yeah, I think we might lose count.
Oh, God, yeah. Take a shot every time you're sad. You'd be hammered by the end of this series. So Alex had an older brother named Frederick. And when Alex was 1 year old, Frederick fell out of a window, which on its own is scary. But wait, it gets so much worse.
Yay!
The little boy survived the fall, but he had internal bleeding. And that's when we learn for sure that poor baby Frederick had hemophilia. And he died just shy of his 3rd birthday. Yeah, from internal bleeding.
And hemophilia is kind of its own character in this story. So,
Yeah, for real.
Let's talk about that for a hot second. So without getting too medical, let's explain what hemophilia is.
Basically, it's a disease where your blood doesn't clot or doesn't clot properly. So a simple injury that you and I would think like no biggie, people don't have it, could bounce back really easily from. Someone with hemophilia, just like a simple injury can be fatal because you're just going to bleed out from a paper cut or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Little rabbit hole. Little Friedrich was not the first person in the royal family with this disease. Queen Victoria had a son, Prince Leopold, who was the first person to have it. So Princess Alice would have known the signs when she saw those symptoms in her son.
Yeah, and Leopold lived to be like 30, and he had a really rough go of it. Fun fact. I don't know how fun this is. Fact. Everyone always blames hemophilia on royal inbreeding, which isn't totally accurate. The gene that causes hemophilia is kind of just like a random freak mutation in someone's chromosomes. That the vast majority of the time, this mutation is carried by women, but only presents in men.
Okay.
Not all the time. There are some variations, but the most of the time it's carried by just like a freak mutation in a woman's chromosome, and then she passes it to her male descendants. So almost certainly Queen Victoria had this totally random, unfortunate mutation in her genetic makeup.
Right. But if you've ever heard the claim that it was caused by generations and generations of inbreeding, it seems like that's quite not right. It could definitely be a factor, but it seems like in this particular family, the reason people blame incest is because of all of Victoria's kids married their cousins. So
yeah. And then all of their kids married their cousins. And so now we got this rare mutation just being recycled in this family wreath.
And then we have the second tragedy of this story. When Alex was 6, everyone in the house got diphtheria, and her mom insisted on acting as a nurse to all of her children.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. Alex recalls later that while she was sick, if she called for her mom at any time of the day, like nighttime, whatever it was, Mama was there to comfort her.
And look, y'all are a smart audience. You probably know where this is going. Mama Alice also catches diphtheria. I think I read that what ended up like actually getting like her actually contracting it is her son who had it asked, Mama, give me a kiss. And she gave him a kiss, and then she got sick right afterwards. And in the end, most of the children survived, but Mom died that December. She was only 35 years old.
Oh my God, that's so sad. This is gonna, I can't imagine just being a little kid and that happening. So obviously this wrecked baby Alex. This is kind of when she quit living up to that Sonny nickname.
Oh, God.
Which is so sad because she was only 6 years old, but it totally changed her personality. Growing up, Alexandra describes her life before and after her mother's death as unclouded, happy babyhood, or perpetual sunshine, and then after, a great cloud. So
baby Alex becomes much more reserved, much more serious, and just very, very sad. And it's at this time that Granny Victoria swooped in and was like, okay, I'm your mom now. She took over choosing Alex's tutors. She brought her to England for long stretches of a time. Alex really did become Vicky's favorite grandchild and was very, very loved and maybe a little bit spoiled with gifts. But it still seems for the rest of her childhood, she had this dark gray cloud over her head.
Which, I mean, with Queen Victoria as her role model, and we haven't covered Vicky on this podcast yet, but I feel like if you have done the most casual search or know a little bit about British history knowledge, you probably know about Queen Victoria wearing black for the rest of her life after her husband died and just being very dramatic in a super long mourning period. So maybe these two triple Geminis are very much alike in their dramatic melancholy.
Yeah. Also, Alex suffered some kind of injury to her legs that would affect her mobility for the rest of her life right after her mom died. We don't really have the full details, so we won't harp on it, but it just like, yeah, it fucked up her legs really bad. We think she fell out of a window or through like a glass plane or something like that. Yeah.
So when they hear Melissa Etheridge come to my window, the
Keep
family's
these
like, no.
kids away from windows. Yeah.
Yes. But this is the point that she has mobility issues like later on in life.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and it's widely speculated that this is why. This injury is why.
This is also the time Alex started leaning into her religion hard. I mean, everyone in her family was religious, but it was kind of like in the normal Victorian way. Alex was clearly coping with some shit, and religion definitely became her crutch, which, I mean, it makes sense. She wouldn't be the first person in history to turn to God or the unknown or whatever when your world just gets turned upside down. Hell, spiritualism. Madame Blavatsky did a whole grift on it, you know?
Yeah, she did a whole thing. Something worth noting in her belief system is that Alex definitely believed in the divine right of kings. Ugh.
Nathan, what is the divine right of kings?
I'm so glad you asked. It's basically the belief that God has chosen the monarch. So if you are the king, you are God's most special boy. And God's most special boy answers to nobody but God. Not Parliament, not the people, no one.
Isn't that a convenient belief for her, being part of the monarchy and all?
I know, right?
God really likes my family.
And not yours. So it'd be really cool if you believe that my family's super awesome.
Yes. Now get away from me, you peasants.
Now, fast forward a little bit to 1884. Zoop. And Alex is 12. She has turned into a very sweet and very pretty little girl, but very, very shy. She loves playing the piano. She loves reading English romance novels. I read that she loved Jane Eyre, and it's like, okay, girl, we know you like the drama.
That tells me everything I need to know about her. If she loved Jane Eyre, it's like, oh, okay.
Got it.
We're Bronte dramas. Okay, got it. Basically, Queen Victoria wanted Alex to eventually marry her British cousin Eddie and to eventually then go on to become Queen of England herself. So, which in Vicky's mind, she's like, that's the goal. That's what everybody wants. And because in her mind, she's like, we're the best country in the world. You want to be the queen of the best country in the world. So I'm going to give that to my favorite grandchild. So her education, her manners, her dance lessons, how she dressed, how she played the piano, everything Victoria was kind of constructing with that in mind. Like, this is the future Queen of England.
Mm-hmm. But young Alex was not into Eddie, which, real quick rant, like, I get it. First cousins got married in these royal families, but like in our Carolina Brunswick episode, the first cousins in question never met each other before the wedding, essentially. But Alex and the future George IV, they grew up together. Like, that feels so much different.
Yeah. Victoria was trying to get these cousins to fall in love, but like that for me, I feel like obviously I don't condone first cousins ever getting married, knowing what we know now. But like, do you agree with that? That it's so much different when it's, oh, here's your first cousin that you've never met before, as opposed to like your first cousin that you literally grew up with.
I think there's also like the anticipation, right, of that first love, and it's going to be your husband. And so when it's someone that you don't know or you haven't seen before, they're like, oh, it's your cousin from this country over here. And then it's like, oh, I've never met the guy. Ooh, I can't wait. Ooh, I'm going to look so pretty. Ooh, I'm going to do all these things, and he's going to love me.
But when it's just fucking Eddie and George that you like to Easter with every year, like, it's
exactly, that you've seen at the pub. Like,
I mean, no offense to any of my male first cousins, but gross.
No.
And so I think, just across the board, we don't think you should marry your first cousin. Hot take. Do you get what I'm getting at, though? The difference of if you grew up together or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But Alex thought Eddie was dumb. Like, she was basically like, he doesn't even read Jane Eyre. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like, she thought he was kind of a loser. Yeah. And so she was like, no thanks. She even said something to Victoria, basically like, if you force this on me, I'll do it. But come on, don't force this on me. And so Victoria didn't,
Damn.
She wanted romance. She wanted drama. And oh, baby, she's going to get it.
And
I don't know about you, but I like keeping my money where I can actually see it and not mysteriously disappearing into my phone bill every month, which is exactly why I finally got fed up with the whole big wireless situation and switched to Mint Mobile. Because here's the thing. We've all just kind of accepted that phone plans are expensive for no reason. Mint exists purely to fix that. Their premium wireless plans start at just $15 a month. You still get high-speed data, unlimited talk and text, and it runs on the nation's largest 5G network. So you're not sacrificing quality, you're just not getting ripped off anymore. And it's super easy to switch. You can bring your own phone, keep your number, activate with eSIM in minutes, and boom, you're saving money. No contracts, no weird hoops. Honestly, if I'm being real, this is what I would use anyway. Same service, less money. So if you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/queens. That's mintmobile.com/queens. Upfront payment for $45 for 3-month, 5GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Your summer starts now with Memorial Day deals at the Home Depot. It's time to fire up summer cookouts with the Next Grill 4-burner gas grill on special buy for only $199. And entertain all season with the Hampton Bay West Grove 7-piece outdoor dining set for only $499. This Memorial Day, get low prices guaranteed at the Home Depot. While supplies last, pricing valid May 14th through May 27th. U.S. only, exclusions apply. See homedepot.com/price match for details.
It's going to get exactly the romance that she wants, right? Well, we'll see right after this break.
We'll be right back. Okay, so we are back, and we were talking about drama. We were talking about romance. It is 1884, and Alex is 12, and she makes her first trip to Russia.
Oh,
yes.
Oh.
Alex had an older sister named Ella, and she loved Ella. So she was probably initially pretty bummed when she found out Ella was going to be marrying a Russian duke and moving far away. And Queen Victoria was horrified at the thought of any of her grandbabies moving all the way to Russia. But either way, Alex was off to St. Petersburg for the wedding.
And this is her first recorded meeting with a young man named Nicholas. She was 12, he was 16, And our girl was smitten kitten at first sight. Like, ooh.
I don't initially like that age gap, but like nothing happened. Nothing happened when she was 12, so. But it's like, I mean, when you're 12, every cute 16-year-old boy you see, you're like, oh, little heart eye emoji.
That's so true. Like, whenever you were in middle school, you saw the high school boys and you were like, oh my God, they're so dreamy. And it's like, no, they're not.
Oh, but Nicholas wasn't just any hottie at a wedding reception, though he was a hottie, which we will get into in a kind of weird way. But this guy is Tsarevich, which, if this is your first venture into Russian history, the Tsar is the emperor and the Tsarevich is the heir apparent. So her crush is the future emperor of Russia, and they were barely even blood related.
So their families were super intermarried, so they were cousins by marriage, but when it came to actually being related, by Victorian standards, they were hardly related, because they had been really marrying cousins real close off.
Yeah. Let's take our non-ancestral wins where we can.
Anyway, this crush definitely wasn't one-sided on her part, though. Nicholas wrote in his diary about meeting her and how sweet and cute she was. This is just adorable. But I think what's important to note here is that these are both two very romantic people. They aren't thinking political alliances. They aren't thinking what will make their families happy. They both want romance and drama. Ooh.
Yes. Oh, they'll get it. Yeah. So this trip to Russia would have been a huge emotional roller coaster for Alex. She's saying goodbye to one of her favorite sisters, but she met a really cute boy. But another thing, she is being introduced to the Russian court for the first time.
Ooh.
And the Russian court, y'all, was lavish. She would have never seen anything like this before.
And yeah, the British court had very nice things, but the Russians were gaudy with it, honestly.
Honestly, yeah, kind of.
The Romanov court wasn't just rich, it was designed to overwhelm you. Compared to, like, relatively restrained German and British courts that Alex grew up in, Russia probably felt something like stepping into the Mall of America and being in a completely different universe with an unlimited budget.
Yes, all gold, everything. Everything was... gaudy is such a good word for it. Mm-hmm. So Alex goes home after this, but she cannot get this Nicholas guy out of her mind. And so the two stay in touch. And it's important to note that from the jump, this pairing was championed by no one. No one wanted these two kids together. Russia had been at war with Germany. So basically no one in Russia wanted a German marrying into the family, especially not Nicholas's dad.
Mm-hmm. And we already mentioned that Queen Victoria didn't want her favorite grandchild moving so far away.
Right.
But there were also there were safety concerns about Russia. Mm-hmm. And there are now, and there always have been.
Always have been.
In recent history, the Russians have loved assassinating their czars. So Nicholas's grandfather, Alexander II, had, count 'em, 6 assassination attempts on his life before he was finally killed in the 7th assassination. Yes. And Nicholas's dad had several radical groups targeting him on the regular.
Okay, yeah, I could see why a protective parent or grandparent might not be thrilled at the idea of sending their kid into such a heated political climate, especially one that's already like geared towards hating Germans, which she technically is, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Don't Google it.
Okay. Yeah, I could definitely see that too. Anyway, over the next 6 years, they just have a long distance pen pal relationship. And something you need to know about this couple is that they love to write over the top, dramatic love letters. We don't necessarily see it here when Alex is literally only 12 years old, but you see a sign of codependency starting to form and starting to come. But in 1890, when she's 16, she goes to see her sister in Russia, and they link up again.
She was there for 6 weeks. So, I mean, maybe call me a hopeless romantic. I think you can absolutely fall in love with somebody in 6 weeks if you're with them. Like, you know, if you're already prone to a bit of the drama. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's a Pisces thing. But I can definitely see falling in love with somebody in 6 weeks. Anyway, and her sister that she's there visiting in Russia, Ella, she's the only one pushing for this relationship.
She's like, please be here with me.
She's like, oh my god, and maybe have your sister who you love also be the future empress one day. Hello. So Ella's like, oh, you want to go see Nick again? Yeah, cool. Let's go see Nick again.
I know. And in that 6-week visit, these two really went from, you know, cute puppy love, pen pals, to serious infatuation with each other. And honestly, they are both so hot.
They're such a good looking couple. Absolutely.
I know. It literally looks like a Hollywood couple that you would see.
Yes.
Like, it's not the typical royal where he's got the Habsburg chin and she's got hemophilia.
Yeah, well.
She kind of does.
Anyway, after this, they both made it clear to their families that they don't be setting me up with anybody. I've only got eyes. They only had eyes for each other moving forward.
So why don't we talk more about Nicholas and his personality and his family dynamics, because he's going to be a central character in the rest of this story.
Yeah.
Nicholas was very, very sweet, very sensitive. He was kind, he was caring, but in terms of being a royal and in terms of real life, a little bit clueless.
Yeah, he was a great husband, a horrible emperor. But getting ahead of ourselves. So we did a 3-parter on Nicholas's mom. So if y'all want to like kind of learn more about his upbringing, go listen to our Dagmar of Denmark series, which I will link to in the show notes. But like Alex's parents, his parents were also married for love, which isn't that nice, and grew up in a very, very tight-knit family. But his dad, the Tsar, he did not see Nicky as an ideal candidate for Tsar. He loved him, but he was like, you know what? It makes me think of Hank Hill and Bobby Hill. Like, oh, that boy ain't right.
Yes.
So, So Tsar Alexander the Third was looking at his son just being like, oh, that boy ain't right. And so he never really forced politics or never gave him any kind of actual responsibility. Did not set this boy up for success is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So when this shy little pushover guy who just likes to read and attend balls finally puts his foot down about something, everyone is shocked.
And when he basically is like, I'll marry Alex or I'll marry no one. So y'all better get used to this idea. Everyone was a bit like, her? Like, what? This is like, they didn't. Did you ever watch The American Office, The Office? And Michael Scott is like so in love with Holly, and their receptionist, Erin, is just like, can she cook or something? Like, she doesn't. That's what basically the entire family, the entire Russian royal family was like, her? Is she like really funny? Like, what? Like, they just didn't get it. And on top of all of this, she's German, which we've already discussed is like a political minefield in its own. Someone at court wrote that they found her, and Dagmar of Denmark may have said this, they found her badly dressed, clumsy, an awkward dancer with an atrocious French accent, too shy, too nervous, too arrogant.
Sounds like Dagmar.
Sick burn. The reason that's important is French was the language at the royal court.
Yes.
But Nicholas had like the one thing that he was good at was learning languages really fast. So he perfected English so that he could talk to Alex more easily, which is so sweet. Again, good husband.
Yes, his mom, Dagmar of Denmark, aka Maria Feodorovna, basically told him that he needed a likable wife, and she didn't think the others in the nobility or the general public were gonna like Alex.
But Nicholas dug his heels in, and for 4 years, he fought his family over this. Like, you are going to see it my way. I'm going to marry this girl or nobody. And finally, after being in love for like 10 years and 100 letters and a handful of meetups later, Nikki's dad finally agreed. He was like, fine.
I'm over it. Nikki's dad, Tsar Alexander, was getting really sick, and when everyone realized he wasn't going to live that much longer, that's why he said to Nicholas, fine.
Right.
Go ahead, propose to her if you want, that's fine.
Alexandra, for her part, had been keeping herself busy the last few years. She's not just sitting in Germany waiting for letters. I mean, she's doing that, but she's got a life going on. Sadly, her dad had passed away, and then her brother became Duke. And he wasn't married, and he didn't fucking know what he was doing. So basically, between the time after the dad died and the brother got married, Alexandra was acting like the first lady of Hesse by the Rhine. She was greeting diplomats. She was hosting balls. She's making appointments. She's appointing people to like the staff of the house and stuff like that. So she is kind of running shit behind the scenes so her brother can figure out what the fuck he's doing being Duke. So that's actually probably should have been like considered really good practice for
running
the future role.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's keeping herself busy.
And when it's time for the brother to get married, that means it's time for a big wedding. And guess who's gonna be there?
Yes. So finally, Nicholas has his family's blessing. They're going to be in the same place because he didn't want to propose via a letter. And when he tells her the good news that his family is finally allowing him to ask, he finally asks her formally, will you marry me? And she says, no. She said no?
Girl, baby
Honey,
girl.
baby girl, yes.
You see, the Tsarina of Russia can't be Lutheran. She has to convert to Russian Orthodox. And as we remember way back, Alex's identity is really tied up in being Protestant. It's kind of consumed her. And now she's just supposed to abandon that part of her life.
I mean, I'm not religious, but I also get it. You know,
But also, she's obsessed with this man for 10 years.
How
why
has she
is
not
this
thought of
just...
this?
Yeah, how have you just... Why is this just now an issue?
Do you remember how much we've talked about how much she loves drama?
Yes.
I don't want to completely discount it to her just looking for drama, looking for the romance novel. Because, in romance novels, there always has to be friction. If the couple just got together in the first scene, it'd be a very
boring.
short novel. So I think there's a level of that to it. But I also don't want to discount that her religion was really important to her. But she is a triple Gemini. She loves drama. There's got to be some friction before the happily ever after. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm sure, her having to convert would be a big deal to her, right? It would be something that she'd be worried about. But also, come on, girl, you had 10 years to figure this out.
You've had 10 years. And I'm sure, we don't have any record, but I'm sure Nicholas was also like, why haven't you brought this to my attention? Literally any other day in the last 10 years.
Right?
He was crushed. Our special boy was so heartbroken.
Her little special boy.
He cried and he told her, do you think there could ever be happiness in a world where I can't have you?
Oh my God, the drama. But that's when Alex's sister Ella is like, okay. calm down, Mr. Dramatic. Let me talk to her. So Ella is like, look, it's actually a really beautiful religion with some really powerful traditions. And it's not that different. It's still the same basic teachings of Lutheranism, just with a twist, with more rituals, more saints, more pizzazz.
More pizzazz, more gold crowns. Yeah.
It's true.
Whatever she said worked. And Alex accepted Nicholas's proposal. Finally, these two are finally engaged. And they were so in love that even though she hated to see her favorite granddaughter get shipped all the way off to Russia, Victoria said, well, I must say that I never saw two people more in love with each other or happier. So
later that year, it was time for her to make her way to Russia, but sadly, it was not a luxurious journey full of pomp and circumstance like she was probably expecting. Nope. Nikki's dad, the Tsar of Russia, was dying. So long journey there was rushed and not necessarily a time for a big celebration.
Exactly. Tsar Alexander, who had fought so hard against his son to not marry Alex, was like, well, if this is happening, I'm going to welcome her in style. So despite the fact that he was literally on his deathbed, he got completely decked out in like full state attire, like his military gear, like full, like, he's like, I'm sorry that this is how you're coming to this country under these circumstances. I'm sorry that I've kind of like not wanted you, and did the full like getting dressed up, and then he just fucking died.
Wow. Well, not immediately.
Yeah.
But he did die 2 months later, which really isn't that long of a time for her to like settle in to her new home. And then bam, the court is in mourning. Oh, and also now your fiance is the Tsar of Russia. No big deal.
Yeah. No, just a little bit of a promotion. In case y'all aren't aware of the magnitude of what this meant to be Tsar of Russia in the 19th century, in case you're not familiar with the size of the place, Russia wasn't just big, it was the largest empire on Earth, and it covered roughly a sixth of the planet's landmass.
Holy moly.
So, yeah, coming from little old Hesse by the Rhine, she may have been coming from bumfuck nowhere.
It's like country come to town. Country come to town.
Yes, and you know that's another one of the complaints that a lot of people had for her to being Tsarina, because it was like, she's not even, she's the granddaughter of a big monarch, but otherwise it was like, Hesse by the Rhine, like where the fuck, nobody knows what that is. He should be marrying a French princess or a Swedish princess or something, or even an English princess. And it's like, Hesse by the Rhine, what is this little hillbilly? Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, exactly. Yeah. And Nicholas was woefully aware of how unprepared he was for the role of Tsar. He cried to Alex, telling her, I'm not ready. This is too much. I'm not fit for the role. And we don't know exactly how all that went down, but we have to imagine she was like, my man, you got a choice.
You don't got a choice. Well, I'm sure she was also like, divine right of kings. Hello. Like, come on. I actually, you know what this made me think of? Remember when we covered Marie Antoinette, and when they became king and queen, her husband, Louis XVI, said something along the lines of like, God help us, we're too young to rule.
Yeah.
Do you see all the parallels that I'm seeing?
Yeah.
If only people had studied history,
they would see that this might not go so well.
Yes. So Nicholas was confirmed as Tsar the day his dad died, November 1st, 1894. And Alex officially converted to Russian Orthodox religion the next day, taking the name of Alexandra Feodorovna. And fun fact, she wanted to take the name Catherine, or however you say Catherine in Russian, I can't remember.
Ekaterina.
Yeah. But he was like the last guy that had been Tsar Nicholas. his wife was also a German princess, and she took the name Alexandra. So that's why he wanted her. He was like, no, like we can just copy paste. Yeah, so
we can just copy paste. So let's discuss real quick what Alexandra's first few months in Russia were like, because that's a whirlwind.
yes.
She arrived in a rush, and not in the style you would expect of the next Tsarina at all. Then, bam, the Tsar is dead. Her fiancé is now the Tsar. She switches religions, and now she's walking in the procession of the old Tsar's funeral, which was a man she barely knew. But still, like, all of this happening all at once.
That is a lot to fucking go through in like a month or 2 months. Honestly, this did set her up in the Russian people's eyes as being a really sympathetic figure at first. The initial vibe among the both like the regular everyday people and the people in the nobility was like, oh my God, this poor girl, this poor princess. She's so pretty. She's gone through so much for true love. And now she's supporting our new Tsar through his grief of losing his father. So people started to use the phrase when discussing her. And at first it was a sympathetic thing of she came to Russia following a coffin. But like it would go on to be more of like a bad omen.
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come step into centuries of history that await in Scotland. Castles steeped in legend, walk along cobblestone streets. Come share the warmth of stories passed down through generations. This is a place with a past that is fully present today and all yours to explore. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
You said this place was steps from the water.
We just haven't found the steps yet.
How much did we save?
Enough.
Enough to get lost?
Or you could book a stay with Hilton.
Welcome to your oceanfront room, just steps from the water.
The Hilton sale is on now. Book on Hilton.com or the Hilton app and save up to 20% to get the stay you expected. When you want savings, not surprises, it matters where you stay. Hilton, for the stay.
Why don't we go ahead, Nathan? After that bad omen, I need to top off my drink, honestly.
Oh, yeah, I might need a couple of shots of the
to
Rasputin,
get to the rest of the story. Shots, Rasputin. Okay. So we are back, and it is the old Tsar's funeral on November 19th, and then their wedding was on November 26th. Oof. And I guess people grieve in different ways, but if it was me, and we had all the money in the world of the Russian court, and you're not worried about losing a deposit on a wedding venue, I'm like, why don't we push this back till after the holidays or something? Like, what's the rush?
Did they use the same flowers from the funeral for the wedding? It's only like a week away.
Yes.
Also, weird fact, they got married on Nicholas's mom's birthday because that was a day it was socially acceptable for the royal court to relax public mourning. So basically it was like the one day that we can, we're going to.
Just push it back. What's the rush? I don't know. So I can't. This is also weird. But let's talk about the wedding. They got married in the Grand Church of the Winter Palace. And like, as we've already discussed, the Russians love a good gaudy scene.
Yeah.
Gold.
Less is more is not something that you would see in Russian architecture.
No.
Didn't think of that, did not cross their mind.
No.
It was dripping in jewels Ella Guanza. And
everywhere. Gold,
yes.
gold, all gold, everything. Yes.
Yeah, not just the venue. The princess formerly known as Alix was bowinged out from head to toe. The dress and the jewels she wore were so heavy that she nearly fainted.
Okay, let's talk about this because we know our girl is shy. And we touched on it briefly before. She had an old injury that gave her mobility issues for the rest of her life. So it wasn't just the weight of the jewels, which was a lot. It was the weight of the situation. that she nearly passed out during the ceremony and the reception. She's being suffocated both physically and mentally.
And this is one of the first instances that people start to notice that something was a little bit off about Alex. Or at least to them, they weren't realizing, oh, she's just shy. She's so fucking nervous. Oh, she's in pain. All they wanted to talk about was her resting bitch face.
Look, if I'm being perfectly honest, I get it. Girl was the master of RBF. Nathan, I included a link in here of some of my favorite pictures of examples of Alex's resting bitch face.
And yes.
I can post these on Instagram. Yes, I get it. Especially when we contrast her to her mother-in-law. So Dagmar of Denmark, or Maria Feodorovna, was always cheerful, bubbly. She was a very, very popular tsarina, whereas Alexandra was an introvert. So the public is seeing these, this contradiction, like the differences, and maybe that'll be important later.
Okay, this episode is running long, so we obviously have to do a part 2 on this. But we have one more thing we want to get to go before we close out the show. So the moment that really sealed the fate of how this royal couple would be viewed by their contemporaries in history is, spoiler alert, a stone cold bummer.
Like of epic proportions. So to give you a timeline, Nicholas was sworn in as Tsar November 1894, but they did not have the coronation ceremony until May 1896.
Ooh.
That's how much thought, planning, money, diplomacy went into these things. By the time that they officially were crowned, she had already had a daughter named Olga. Like,
and we really cannot stress enough what a big fucking deal the coronation was. It wasn't just a fancy royal ceremony. In Imperial Russia, a coronation was damn near holy.
Right. We haven't talked about it yet, but at the time, Russia was pretty much the only European empire that still practiced absolute monarchy. There was no parliament, no Congress, no constitution. Remember, Nikki is God's special boy. So just God and the Tsar running the show. And because the empire was so massive, like we said, a sixth of the world's landmass, this coronation was celebrated at a giant scale.
So these two have an epic coronation because of course they did.
Of course.
Everything was gold. Everything was dramatic. And everyone who was anyone was there. And for the regular people, there was also going to be a party. And one that thousands ended up showing up for. This might be fun.
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember what podcast I was listening to, but they said that like 100,000 people or more, or something like 500,000 people or something maybe showed up, and they had like 60 guards.
Oh God, no!
I know. So there was this place called Khodynka Field, and the government had set up. I mean, it was kind of meant to be like a coronation festival. It was like the Coachella for the peasants that wanted to celebrate the coronation. So it's like this field. They promised that everyone that showed up would get food, beer, and a commemorative cup. And hundreds of thousands of people showed up to Coachella in Khodynka Field. And they were like, free food, free beer, royal cup, say less. I'm here.
But I guess they didn't account for how many regular folks were going to show up to this thing. It's estimated that 400 to 500,000 people showed up.
It's a lot of cups. A lot of commemorative cups.
Yep. And as the day of celebration went on, rumors started spreading that there wouldn't be enough gifts for everyone and people wouldn't get their cups. So people began rushing down the distribution booths, demanding their cups. And it turned into a full crowd crush.
Well, I mean, it makes me think of, what was that? Was it the Astroworld Festival or where those people got crushed? It's just like,
oh yeah.
Once a crowd is out of control, like, God, it's just really, really sad. And this is where the event is where it stops being royal event gone wrong and it becomes a nightmare. People were literally trampled. People were suffocated. By the end, about 1,300 people died and thousands were injured. And what a horrible way to go, being trampled to death. Can you even?
I know. They were planning on like 1,000 people just showing up.
Yeah.
But like 1,000 people
instead of 1,000 people died. Yes. Oh, God.
And Nicholas and Alexandra were told what happened. They were horrified, truly. They went and visited the injured in the hospitals, and they wanted to cancel the rest of the festivities for the day. And to give them the credit due, I don't think this couple always had their finger on the pulse of the common people. They weren't very good about that. But by all accounts, they could read the room. And they could say, hey, maybe 1,300 people getting trampled, maybe we shouldn't have a major celebration, right?
Right. And so Nicholas's advisors were his uncles. And I feel like we've seen this so many times in history. Whenever the king sucks or the king is a baby, he has a bunch of uncles that are douche canoes. And so his main advisors were his uncles. And they were like, well, you can't cancel tonight's celebration because the French ambassador is here. And if you cancel, that's going to be basically a big middle finger to the French. And we need to keep that relationship friendly. So Alex and Nikki went.
You know what? I feel like surely the French ambassador would have understood because, good God. Like, seriously. Either way, the people, when they went, they noticed he didn't cancel the ball. And that became a PR nightmare.
Oh, like, excuse me. 1,000 of us just died at your coronation. And even more are in the hospital while you danced the night away? What?
Yeah, not a great look for the new czar.
No. This tragedy is really the beginning of the bad vibes. People start associating this couple with death and disaster almost immediately. So now that saying, she came to Russia behind a coffin, it's changed the context. And unfortunately, that is a stigma that would stick with them for the rest of their reign.
Yeah, Russia's looking at this moment and being like, this couple, I don't know, cursed, maybe?
Cursed? But surely things can only get better from here.
Don't Google it.
All right. Well, we will catch y'all in part 2. Cheers, bitches.
Cheers.
Meet the new iSims, the single talent acquisition platform that's fully future-ready. It works wherever and however you hire, with insights no one else offers. One solution that fits seamlessly into your existing tech stack, which is why IT and HR leaders trust it. With the best of enterprise-grade software and AI, iSims helps you identify and secure the right talent faster. iSims, powering exceptional hiring. Learn more at isims.com.